Hello everyone, welcome back to Fantastic. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the IPO Antony Waste Handling Cell Limited. Now this company, founded way back in 2001, is actually one of India's leader in handling municipal solid waste management industry. Actually, what is MSW if you ask? It is actually a kind of services that not only just collects solid waste, so it includes solid waste collection, processing, transportation as well as the disposal. So all these processes come under this company. I mean, all of them are handled by them and they generate different kinds of revenue from all the four processes. So now we'll be understanding in detail about this IPO. Before that, let me just put up the agenda for today's video. So we'll be seeing the IPO details and then we'll go into the objective of this IPO. We'll also be considering the financials of this company, like how it has been performing in the past few quarters. Then we'll be doing a SWOT analysis, which is a very good kind of analysis if you want to consider not just in an IPO but analyzing a particular company as well. After that, we'll be seeing the valuations and at the end I'll be giving you the recommendation whether you should go for it or not. So stay tuned till the end of the video. So now without further ado, let's just dive into it. Now here you can see the details of this IPO. The opening date is December 21, 2020. Closing date is 23rd of December. Issue type is book built issue. The face value per equity share is 5 rupees and the IPO price is between 313 and 315 per equity share. The market lot or the minimum order quantity, it is actually 47 shares. The listing will be at both BSE and NSE. The issue size you can see over here is 300 crore in terms of rupees. So fresh issue and offer for sale. So basically these are the bifurcations of the issue size. Out of the 300 crore, 85 crore is a fresh issue and the other one 215 crore is actually an offer for sale, which is OFS. Now let's see the objectives of this IPO. Basically, like I mentioned, out of the total 300 crore, 215 crore, which is also the 2/3 part, is actually an OFS, which is offer for sale. What does it mean? Actually, a venture capitalist who had invested way before, like when this company had begun at the beginning, is actually offering its stake for sale, is exiting their business through this IPO. So it is offering to the public for sale. And then the remaining 85 crore is a fresh issue, which will be used by the company for partly financing PCMC, which is Pimpri Chinchwad Municipal Corporation. So this tabular column is showing you the financial performance of the company in the past 4 quarters. You can see over here, if we look at the financials, it actually looks quite impressive. The company has achieved 17% CAGR growth in revenue. CAGR is compounded annual growth, and 16% CAGR in PAT. PAT is basically profit after tax till the fiscal year 2019-2020. But it's true, if you see that the current pandemic has also affected the performance of the company. You can see the decline in revenue and PAT also in the recent 2 quarters due to the pandemic. Now before coming to a particular conclusion, let's do the SWOT analysis of this offer first. Now what is SWOT analysis? SWOT analysis basically we'll be doing the analysis of this company in 4 steps or 4 categories: strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So now let's start with that. So the first parameter which we are going to discuss is the strengths. If we see the very first point in the strengths, the company has a very long track record of 20 years. So this signifies their expertise in the business. The second point in the strength is actually a strong track record of project execution. Not only this, but the company's management is very confident that it will be retaining the existing business with the municipal corporation as well as obtaining new ones as well. The third point which can be considered in the strengths of this company is they have maintained risk very nicely, or they have de-risked the company by investing into or diversifying their business. The business model is such that even though the businesses sound very similar, like it is solid waste management, but the different processes which are there, which is basically like first collecting and then processing and transportation and disposal. So all of these 4 processes generate different kinds of revenue. So they have not kept all their eggs in one basket but diversified their business model, and so it lowers the risk as well. The fourth point which we can consider in the strengths is actually backed up by good technology or strong technology, as well as a fleet of vehicles, ownership of vehicles. Actually, the company has actually invested into a good fleet of vehicles. Like as of August 31st 2020, the company owns 1147 vehicles. The company believes that owning this vehicle not only enables them to give good services but cost efficient services as well. So now let's talk about the weaknesses of this company. So the very first point is the company is dependent on the municipal corporation for a substantial proportion of their business as well as revenue. So if you see, the municipal corporation has been finding it difficult to fund these solid waste management projects because they are also highly dependent on state, central grants as well as the budgetary allocations. So if there is any decline in the budget allocation of these solid waste management projects, this will have adverse impacts on the business revenue, financial conditions and operations of this company as well. The second point which we can see is high concentration risk, which means limited number of customers, like a limited amount of customers give a good or big proportion of the revenue. So if you see, the top 5 customers of this company actually contribute 80 to 90% of the revenue that they make. So if there is loss of any one of the top 5 customers also, this will have very adverse impact on the revenue of the company. The third point which we can see is many of the group companies or the subsidiaries have been incurring losses in the past 3 fiscals. As you can see over here, 3 out of the 5 subsidiary companies have actually incurring consistent losses in the past 3 fiscal years. The fourth point which we can consider is high working capital requirement. So this is an industry which requires a high working capital. So if there is any kind of inability to meet the working capital requirements, that will also adversely impact the revenue, financial conditions and the business of this company. Now let's talk about the opportunities. The very first point is actually India is a developing country with one of the highest populations in the world, and as per the UN World Population Prospects 2019, it is going to be 1.46 billion by 2025. And as the urbanization of this population increases, the waste generation per person will also increase. Currently, if you see, it is around 450 grams per person per day, and which is quite low if you compare it to the global average, which is 740 grams per person per day. India's waste generation is going to increase by 15% per annum CAGR basis. This is a research done by Forest and Civilian Analysis. And being the second leading player in the waste management after Ramki and WIPRO, Antony Waste is going to benefit a lot out of it. The second point is segregation of waste at source in India. Now, the segregation of waste at source is at a very nascent stage in India, because first of all, segregation means, in short, if I want to make you understand, this is separation or categorization of the waste, like when you categorize the waste into wet and dry. So categorizing the waste at different categories, so it is easy to transport and recycle it. So that is actually segregation. So segregation is not very much practiced in India in the general households. So central and state governments are ensuring awareness in the public, more and more awareness, and instill required behavior so that the segregation is done at source. Because if you see in this COVID-19 crisis kind of thing also, the transmission of waste was very difficult because of the lockdown. So ensuring more and more awareness out of it and segregation at source will help the overall country as well. The third point is the government schemes. Actually, many government schemes have been ensuring more and more participation of the private sector as well in this waste generation, waste management, not waste generation. So basically, the Swachh Bharat mission, smart city mission, coupled with the government subsidies like waste to energy, W2E projects, the Swachh Bharat mission actually aims to achieve 100% of the processing, transportation and disposal of the waste around 4,041 cities and towns overall in the country overall. And the smart city mission actually facilitates the municipal corporation with smart technologies for integrated waste management systems. The fourth and the last point is environmental and social awareness. So in the past few years, the environmental and social awareness about this effective waste management has increased in the country, and state and the central governments are coming up with the projects to ensure more and more awareness among the general public to ensure effective waste management. So Antony Waste is actually going to benefit out of this awareness as well. So now let's talk about few of the threats that this company might be facing. The very first point is any decline in the economic growth, or there is any political instability nationally or internationally. This will have adverse impacts on the business of the company. We can also see the COVID-19 pandemic, like if there is a COVID-19 pandemic or any other pandemic or public health emergency is created, then the business is affected, financial conditions are affected, and cash flow particularly is affected of this business. There is high competitive pressure. So this actually is a business. Municipal solid waste management is actually a high competitive business. Any kind of high competitive pressure can adversely impact the business operations. There are actually 20 to 30 participants in this MSW management service market, and they are offering various kinds of services, so there is high competitive pressure. The company is highly dependent on the directors and the management particularly, because if you see, if they are unable to retain any one of the key personals, or their inability to also bring a new key personnel instead of the previous one, that can actually have adverse impacts on the businesses. At present, if you see, the Kalarakal family is running the business from the past 20 years, and people are, or the investors are ready to pay premium for this kind of efficient management team. I'm sorry if I pronounced the name incorrectly. So people are ready to pay good amount of premium because there is an efficient management team right now. So if there is a possibility to not retain, if there are any changes in the management team, that will also have adverse impacts on the business of the company. Now, talking about the valuations, the very positive sign of this issue is actually it is a very fairly valued company compared to the overpriced current market right now. So if you see, the return on equity or the ROE is at 20, and the PE ratio is at 11.5. The ratio is going on around. Why we think it is attractive? Because if you see, there is no waste management company listed in the market right now to compare it with. So we directly compared it with the index PE, which is Nifty's PE, which is around 35 right now. So seeing this company's PE at 11.5, it looks very, very attractive compared to the overpriced current market right now. Talking about the recommendations, so before applying into any IPO, it is highly recommended to check the GMP first. Now, GMP is the grey market premium. It will actually give you a very good idea about the kind of response or the kind of prospects which are there in this current IPO. So actually, even if there are a looming growth expected because of the economic conditions, the valuations of this company are very attractive, and the GMP is around 55 to 60 above the bid price, which can also change when the closing date comes nearby. So invest cautiously, keep track of that. But if you are going for listing gains, you can definitely consider applying in this one. And now, signing off by saying the mandatory things. For more such videos, do encourage us to do so by subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell icon, liking the video if you have liked the content, commenting if you have any kind of suggestions or any kind of feedback. See you in the next one.